Do you ever see a horror character who feels less like a monster and more like a mirror? Like they're showing you something real, something you don't want to admit exists? That's Aunt Gladys. In Weapons, she shows up after 15 years of silence. She says she's sick, too frail to live alone, and the family, out of guilt or habit, lets her move in. The moment she crosses that threshold, everything changes. She tells Alex, the young boy, that she remembers him as a baby, even though that's impossible. Right away, she starts to twist the truth, rewriting family history like it's hers to control. Then the spell begins. Alex's parents become quiet, blank, detached, like puppets whose strings have been cut. They sit at the kitchen table, unresponsive, eyes empty. Alex has to feed them soup, spoon by spoon. That's one of the most heartbreaking details in the film. A child forced to care for the adults. It's not just creepy, it's a metaphor. Kids of addicts grow up this way. They become the caretakers, the stabilizers, the ones who keep the house functioning, while the people who should protect them disappear behind their addictions. Aunt Gladys's spell is really just the fog of dependency made literal, the way love turns into obligation and childhood gets stolen. But she isn't doing this for affection. She's doing it for power. She uses the parents as leverage to control Alex. She tells him she needs small personal items from each of his classmates. And in his desperation to please her, he obeys. What he doesn't know is that these objects are ritual tools. Each one lets her control a child, drain their energy, and make them vanish. She feeds off them. Literally, their youth is her lifeline. Twice, the movie references parasites that invade their hosts, creatures that control and consume what they inhabit. That's exactly what Aunt Gladys is. But she's more than a supernatural parasite. She's the personification of addiction and generational decay. The kind of evil that hides inside families, pretending to help while it feeds. Her appearance drives this home. She talks about consumption, that old-fashioned word for tuberculosis. Her clothes, her hair, her speech, they all belong to different eras, like she's lived through centuries, stealing time from everyone around her. She isn't immortal because she's magical. She's immortal because she's a cycle. The same sickness passed down, generation after generation, changing faces but never dying. And then there's Alex. Before Aunt Gladys moves in, he's already on a dangerous path. Lonely, bullied, ignored. A kid pushed to the edge, fitting the tragic outline of a future school shooter. The signs are all there. The isolation, the resentment, the growing sense of powerlessness. He's the kind of child the system overlooks until it's too late. That's what makes Aunt Gladys so interesting. She hijacks that trajectory. Instead of violence exploding outward, Asasumom is a real-world act of revenge. It's redirected inward into her supernatural control. She takes his pain and weaponizes it for her own survival. Whether it's through witchcraft or human rage, the result is the same. A classroom disappears. Innocence is destroyed. Violence becomes cyclical. And then there's Josh Brolin's character, the dream sequence where a massive rifle is projected over the house. It's an image that ties everything together. Domestic life overshadowed by violence, the weapon literally hanging over the home. The film doesn't say it outright, but it's clear. This is what happens when neglect festers, when trauma goes untreated. The house itself becomes a breeding ground for destruction. Aunt Gladys doesn't just haunt the family, and she is what's been haunting them all along. The addiction, the silence, the generational curse that keeps feeding on whoever's left to care. And that's why she feels so timeless. Because every family has its ghost, the kind that don't rattle chains, but drain you slowly while calling it love. Aunt Gladys isn't just the villain of Weapons. She's the sickness that hides in the walls, waiting to be invited back in. And once she's inside, she never really leaves.